Today is one of the most W days of 2026 for hip hop, one of the most W days of 2026 for America, for my America. Oh my goodness. I need everybody to turn their attention to Adams County and Afroman. You know Afroman, and if you don't know Afroman, you do know Afroman. Insert Afroman here.
I was gonna clean my room until I got high.
It all started when Afroman, living in Ohio, was sought after by the Adams County police on essentially an illegal warrant, where they were given a tip, apparently, that this man was drug trafficking as well as kidnapping.
They did, searching your house gave you the right to do everything you
Under
got.
the circumstance that I got freedom of speech, after they run around my house with guns and kick down my door, I got the right to kick a can in my backyard, use my freedom of speech, turn my bad times into a good time. Yes, I do. And I think I'm a sport for doing so, because I don't go to their house, kick down their doors, flip them off on their surveillance cameras, then try to play the victim and sue them.
You were at Lisa Phillips's deposition, correct?
Yes, sir.
In your lawyer's office.
Yes, sir.
Same office where you filmed part of that video last Friday.
Yes, sir.
And you saw how upset she was when she was answering your lawyer's questions about how this had affected her, right?
Yes, yes,
And you saw your attorney say, do we need to take a break?
yes,
And you saw her say, no, let's go on and get this over with.
yes, sir.
You saw all that.
Yes.
You knew she was upset.
Just like she knew I was upset when she was standing in front of my kids with an AR-15 with her hand around the trigger ready to shoot me. Just like she knew I was upset when she cut my cameras.
They said that he had some alleged dungeon in his basement, and that was the basis of the warrant that they had signed by a judge. 7 or 8 of them came through, busted open his gate, broke that, kicked down his door, broke that, and he had his home video surveillance footage recording the entire process of them raiding his home, looking through things, digging in his pockets, had to get his girl involved. She was flustered. They didn't find anything. It was a baseless warrant. And as a result, he released a song called Will You Help Me Repair My Door?
Will you help me repair my door?
And so he tried to pursue this legally in court with them, but his lawsuit was dismissed. They weren't trying to have it. Now, mind you, the reason why Afroman had cameras set up in the first place was because of a prior encounter he had where somebody tried to rob his RV. Afroman is a legacy act, you know what I'm saying? He tours most of the year. Like he had said in an old Vlad interview that he tours for like 300 out of 365 days of the year. So this man hustles, gets his pay. He has a nice decked out garage with all the cars that he's earned over his career and his successful singles that have gone viral. And if you get Afroman's cadence and delivery and poetry style and just artistic energy, then you would see the passion behind what he does, the humor, but also the pain that he puts into the music, where if you know, you know. He's a free-spirited man. He like to drink his beer, smoke his green, ain't messing with nobody. Now, at the time, I'm not sure about now, that greenery was illegal in the state of Ohio unless you had your medical card. And he openly kind of did his thing. So when they tried to come after him, they figured they would find something. But like I said, the reason why he even had cameras in his home is because of his RV being previously robbed. And when he went to go make an insurance claim on it, the insurance company said, you need a police report in order for us to verify this actually happened. So he calls up to that place, to the police, and reports what happened. He gives them the information, and he asks when they'll be able to have that paperwork for him. And they said, you have to check back. So he called every couple days, few days, what have you, and they were not trying to give him any stuff. Matter of fact, they were getting frustrated with him following up. And then he reports that the last thing they said to him is, if you call us again, then we will address it. And he speak Copanese, because he's like, you know what? As a black man, I know these cops wasn't even built to protect me. They built to protect white folks. Now, let that fall on you however you put it. I ain't starting no race wars or anything like that, but we know in America the origins of these structures and entities were not meant for the people that America once upon a time hated the most and had no idea what to do with. So they just shorelined black progress for the longest time. And if you go back in history and you can respect the facts of what happened, then you can see that. Black Wall Street, the white flight in Detroit with the 67 riots, the Chicago fires, the Tulsa, Oklahoma community that was burned, where we had banks, businesses, a booming economy that was competitive with the white counterparts. Then you can go ahead and insert the infiltration of welfare, which removed marriage as a prioritization and men out of the home of priority as well. Mix that with the crack era where these drugs were implanted in black communities. Once again, criminally removing fathers from the home, creating cycles of addiction, creating bait traps for those that were already stuck in a Hunger Games mindset because you in a concrete jungle of a city with no resources. So an informant makes you want to sell just to trap you into the prison system, which is booming with a 13th Amendment that abolished slavery doesn't have to be honored because you get cheap labor. And black people, no matter what the percentage we have in this country population wise, we're the highest percentage in prisons. Well, next to the white folks, because they just represent the biggest population in this country. But by percentage per capita, whatever you call it, we the biggest population in there. That should tell you something. But I'm not here to sell you on any of that stuff because it has little bearing on what's happening in this story of what I'm getting ready to tell you. So the police tell Afroman, yeah, like, don't call us no more about this. So he had to take that as a loss. So he upgraded his mindset to, you know what? I'm going to just get cameras. I'm going to get cameras in my crib, and that's going to protect me from any type of situations that can happen in the future. Prophetic. Because then, once these cops are raiding his crib, he has it all captured from when they busted open the gate, from when they were raiding all throughout his crib. He even released a song called Lemon Pound Cake about a cop that was eyeing the pound cake that apparently his mama made, and he looking like, maybe I should have me a slice. It drew attention to Afroman. I seen it back then, and I'm like, man. As a result of him releasing these songs, the Adams County Police Department didn't really like that. Afroman used his First Amendment right, using his artistic expressions and a little satire, if you will, to get even. Because $400 apparently came up missing. We know how that goes with cops and cash. That's one of the biggest things that get palmed during their searches, raids. They feed that right back into their precinct, and that's how they able to do some of the dopest stuff that we see. Like if we seen all the fraudulent money that these crooked cops were able to keep for their precinct, boy, you'd be surprised. Because it's like, on your salary, how you able to afford all this stuff? But the crazy thing about the Adams County cops, they are not the brightest at all. Matter of fact, they represent the bottom barrel of the country bumpkins of America that really can't string a thought together and probably don't have an education past the 8th grade. So Afroman been on a tear, making long videos. I watched all of them, making long videos of parodies of these cops that have actually bad pasts. Being involved with prostitutes, from being involved with illegal substances, from pulling up records that are verifiable that really just show how dirty, nasty, and conniving this whole crooked county is. And you know they had the nerve to sue him for invasion of privacy and defamation when the whole reason why this man even lifted his voice to express himself about these crooked cops is because of how they disregarded his property, traumatized his woman, stole some of his money, and then expected him to not say anything about it and just be a good little Negro and make sure he knows his place. And it's like, yeah, we did that. So, and leave it to Afroman. He thought that, like, because luckily he wasn't home. He was in Chicago at the time. And this is not his first rodeo with the police. Shoot, and I lived long enough where I had a couple rodeos with the police. Mind you, I don't have a criminal record. I've never broken a law, but I've had guns drawn on me by the police before. I've been thrown to the ground as young as in middle school for mistaken identity. It happens. I don't believe all cops are bad, nor does Afroman. Matter of fact, he came stepping as an American patriot, if you will, which is even more ironic because the people that try to alienate black folks from being Americans don't realize that we more American than them most of the time. Advocating for freedom to ring from top to bottom. for everybody that is an American citizen. When I tell you Afroman went scorched earth on these people, I was watching these videos in bewilderment and disbelief at the lengths he was willing to go. It's like when your mama tell you, like, when you decide to throw a rock at somebody, once that leave your hand and it hits them, you got to be okay with whatever response they have because you decided to throw that rock in the first place. But best believe, if it was up to Adam County, they would love to keep throwing rocks at people, knocking them upside the head, and then being like, whoa, 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 now, don't you respond. You can't do nothing. We're the police, so we were wrong. We destroyed your place, and we didn't offer any compensation for the things we destroyed or for the privacy that we invaded upon, but we expect you to be a good boy and stay where you at. Like, as a grown man, that ain't nothing for you to be playing with and dealing with and whatnot. Like, once you get into a grown man's personal space, anybody for that matter, but especially men, and I'm talking about from just a natural point of us being territorial, for us having our own space. Once you break that, that is like so dehumanizing, undignified. Like, if you break into somebody's house, you better be ready to die. And Afroman said, I'm glad I wasn't home, because he said what he believes would be the case based on how they moving unpredictably and thinking that they could just do anything they want in his place, that they was hoping to find him because they had their weapons drawn, fingers on the trigger. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this. They cut, once they found the cord to his home surveillance, they cut the cameras. They cut the cameras. That's on camera too. He got everything.
I know you want me dead or in the slammers, but why you unhooking my video cameras?
He was thinking that like if he was home and he was holding a remote in his hand, they would have easily been able to be like, oh no, he had some type of device in his hand that looked like a weapon. We were scared for our boom, boom, boom. We've seen the story over and over and over again. So the crazy thing is the result of him releasing all of these songs started affecting these cops' daily lives. They would be getting stopped in public, in stores, you know, like he made some very, very damning statements, backing it up by real records, criminal records that some of these cops were involved in and still allowed to work. Some real situations documented where they were still allowed to keep their jobs or go work for another county, being Adams County, even though they had these decorated pasts and histories that should completely question whether they should be on that force. Like, really not even question it, like, it really should be like, get them up out of here. But there are many counties like this that exist in America. Places where people know where, hey, if you driving through there, make sure you're doing the speed limit, make sure you're not sticking around, just do your, it's a bunch of places like that in the States. And the beautiful thing about the situation is they had to face the reality of their actions that had nothing to do with them raiding the house. But what attitude pushes somebody to believe they have the authority with no consequences in their scope of vision to do what they did to a person, to an American like Afroman, and think that there's not going to be any backlash? That's some crooked cops that believe that they are above the law and that they are the law, and whatever they do doesn't matter. He collected so much dirt on them and used his freedom of speech and the spiritual fighting style of hip hop to axe them down. This goes in one of the most top 10 effective diss tracks of all time, in my opinion, because it's one thing to be satirical and to be going rapper versus rapper and to be ego versus ego. Like, that's cool. Ego is involved in most of these things too, yeah. But when it can really be effective to where hip hop and the words that you're saying get to have legal ramifications, not to where people are getting hurt, but to where you are using your voice in a nonviolent fashion to talk about some real stuff. That's one thing I love about hip hop, because this art form started with black folks who have been, like I said, come at a certain way in this country, and you need a safe space to be able to express and to get that out. Hip hop was that. Blues was that. Jazz was that. You know, we could talk about rock too, because Elvis Presley stole a bunch of songs, but we have a beautiful way of turning our pain into poetry, and it becomes potent and political as well. Yeah, it's got to the point where hip hop lyrics and lawfare is starting to become a trend where they're thinking like, when is it appropriate to use lyrics? And I was waiting to see if they were going to demonize Afroman's lyrics because of what he portrayed and what he said, because number one, that would be against his First Amendment right. Number two, because it was home surveillance footage, it's all within his right and scope to use that accordingly because it belongs to him. They can't put no type of stipulations or ramifications on his home footage that he owns. Is his to do. They done came into his domain, and now they gotta live with all the pain. And they caused him pain, suffering, things, like I said, that they thought they wouldn't even be able to get any consequences for. Now, in the court of public opinion and the real legal court as of today, he is not guilty.
That's right. Afroman had a very emotional reaction. The jury, as you mentioned, siding with the rapper Afroman, whose real name is Joseph Foreman, in this case. Here's video from inside the courtroom as this case went on. During closing arguments, the attorney representing the deputies in this case claimed Afroman intentionally lied about and defamed the deputies in his songs, but Afroman's attorneys maintained throughout this trial it is his right to say what he wants to say. This goes back to 2022 when Afroman's home was raided following search warrants related to possession and trafficking in drugs and kidnapping. Though he was never charged, the attorneys for the deputies suing say Afroman used security video from the raid on his home and put it in a music video using deputies' likeness without permission. Again, this jury in Adams County finding he did not defame those deputies. Here's Afroman speaking directly after that verdict.
I didn't win. America won. America still has freedom of speech. It's still for the people, by the people.
Afroman becoming emotional there as he says this fight was bigger than him. It was about free speech and what he describes as corruption in this sheriff's department.
And it was such a powerful moment because, number one, it's not like this man is writing complex rhyme schemes and a whole bunch of, like, it's given very much nursery rhyme style, but that's all it needs. That's Afroman. Like, and he can spit bars too, don't get me wrong, but he came at them with the most simplest cyclical rhymes in his style that addressed the situation, made it dang near fun, memorable, and it gave people the narrative as to what he was dealing with, and he had so many people rallying behind him. This is a dub for black people. This is a dub for America, because now in court as the judge, he was being biased. He was being legal but biased. You could tell that he was trying to find a way to defend these cops in whatever way. But it's like the more and more you go into the areas of their foolery and their past and their criminal history, now it's bringing a different level of attention to the community they serve, and they don't really want them up in there. And so what they're dealing with in the public, it's such pain and suffering and emotional turmoil, and it's just so crazy how the villains can become the victim. Meanwhile, Afroman, nobody heard his cries about his door and about his house and about his money that went missing and about the fact that the whole reason why he has home surveillance cameras is because his RV was robbed, and the police county that he called to follow up with the paperwork pretty much gave him an idle threat that if he were to call back that they would really address it. But guess who got addressed and probably won't be back to his address? Yeah, y'all better stay from around here. So I love to see it. Matter of fact, I got a little emotional watching him in court because Afroman, he's having a good time, but this is his life, man. He built this whole thing. This man pays his taxes, takes care of his kids, likes to smoke his weed, you know what I'm saying? This is hip hop, you feel me? He out here making his money, working hard, hustling. He got everything that he's built for himself in this country, in this land that he bought that is his, and you got people infiltrating like he not a respected American citizen. And you see, this is where they want people to mess up. They want people to do something dumb in order for all the walls to fold in on them. But Afroman stayed humble, but stayed on their ass. Bad. If you go watch some of these videos, oh my goodness, like he took it there. Afroman is my hip hop hero, man. He is my hip hop hero. And to see the judge read the verdict out, number one, like the smile that he was having when he first came into the courtroom, greeting everybody, to where he was asking the jury for their verdict. And then when he read it, smile removed from his face, and he started delegating, saying like,
just want to remind everybody that how the verdict comes out isn't something of public comment. So if you have an emotional attachment to the verdict, don't express it. Wait till you get out of the building before you let your emotions out.
And from there, I was like, oh, we won. You over here trying to put a cap. No, we won. And they are so salty. The fact that, number one, this case had to be brought in front of the world. Y'all tried to make an example out of him by taking him to court for the things that y'all did wrong and the things that he brought up about y'all because he wasn't served justice, and y'all invaded his home. So now your privacy gets invaded. Now the court of public opinion has things against you. You lost in court, and you got to go back to the county that won't respect you because of y'all nasty, crooked criminal actions. Love to see it. Love to see it. This is what we need. This humiliation right here, let all them crooked cops beware. It can't happen to me. Well, let's make sure Afroman gets plastered everywhere, because this is an example of a true black American hero that decided to step and stand on business, use hip hop as act act of peaceful warfare that does mean business, and we'll see about that ass. Ooh. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section. Have you heard anything about Afroman? If not, y'all should definitely go check this out. I'm inspired. Afroman, I'm gonna meet you one day, man. I'm gonna shake your hand and I'm gonna tell you you a hero. You my hero, man. There's much love out here for you. And remember, y'all,
Afroman is gonna screw ya. My proof's on the internet.